What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and today we have Old Elk Cigar Cut. Now, obviously, everybody's looking for the Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend these days. It dropped here in Pennsylvania as like a special release. I ordered it. The order got canceled, as is tradition here in Pennsylvania. So we've got Old Elk Cigar Cut. This is my first experience with any type of cigar blend, cigar cut. So let's see how this does on this week's Bourbon of the Week. Everybody knows before we get started, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. I'd smoke that. So as I mentioned, this is Old Elk Cigar Cut. This is coming out of Colorado. The thing that I like about it the most is they tell you right on the side of the bottle almost everything you need to know about it. Cigar Cut, a blend of our award-winning signature high malt straight bourbon whiskey, aged 6 years, finished in sherry, Armagnac, port, and cognac casks. This is finished in sherry casks for 1.5 years, Armagnac casks for 1.25 years, port cask finish for 3 to 8 months, and cognac finish for another 3 to 6 months. Now, a question that I always have that doesn't seem to get answered is when they have this many cask finish, are they blending the bourbon, then they're putting it in each particular cask for this long? Are they starting with the Armagnac, then moving it all to the cognac, then the sherry, then the port? Or are they finishing it in separate casks and then blending it at the end of the process? Again, I feel like that would be a shorter time frame than another additional, we're talking 3, maybe 3.5 years on this. So a 6-year whiskey plus 3.5 years makes this a 9-year whiskey, or is it a 6-year whiskey and then the longest finishing is another year and a half, so it's a 7.5-year-old whiskey? That's always a question that I have that I do not have answers to. But let's talk about this Old Elk Cigar Cut. So here we go. This is obviously coming out of Colorado, and this is coming in at a high malt, and they mean high malt. 51% corn, 34% malted barley, 15% rye. Now, I know they deal with this mash bill often over there, so let's see what they can do against price, taste, drinkability when it comes to this mash bill and these 4 finishes. Now, again, having no experience with any cigar cuts or cigar blends, I know Joseph Magnus does Armagnac, cognac, and sherry. This adds the port finish to this as well, so I'm assuming those 3 finishes specifically are what gives it that cigar cut. I don't smoke a lot of cigars, but let's see how this would do with a cigar for me. First things first, we're going to talk about drinkability on this. I didn't mention it yet, but this comes in at 110.6 proof, and I gotta tell you, the first time I tried this, sipped hot for me. The second time I tried this, sipped a lot easier, and now the third time trying this glass, don't tell my brother-in-law because this is his bottle, this sips very well for 110 proof. I wouldn't put it too much lower than 110 proof, but I would be surprised if you told me 110 proof, maybe in like that 100 to 105 range. This whole glass is going to throw me off, and I can tell you why. First of all, I have no experience with 34% malted barley when it comes to a mash bill. I don't really know exactly what I'm supposed to be getting when it comes to malted barley. I think we're going to talk about it a little bit more in taste on what I am getting. Second of all, you throw 4 different cask finishes at this, and you're going to get a lot of different influences, which makes this glass very complex. Not a bad thing, but at the end of the day, it's something different than I've ever experienced. This right here, though, for drinkability, I got to give it a pretty damn good score. For 110.6 proof, it drinks pretty easy. That being said, we go with 8.0 if it drinks right at its proof. I'm going high 8s on this. I'm going like 8.76 when it comes to drinkability. I mean, look at this glass, almost empty already, and I haven't even noticed an ethanol kick. 8.76 seems like a fair spot. I mean, we have to pour up a little bit more as we get a taste on this. This is something that is different for me. Now, again, 34% malted barley. I'm expecting like a peanutty note to this, and you do get it's like a dry crushed peanutty note, like almost like the dust you would get from the peanuts. But yet it also has so much sweetness that I wasn't expecting on this. I don't know why when I thought 15% rye and 34% malted barley that I wasn't expecting sweetness, but you get a lot of good sweet notes on this, which I don't personally think I would pair that well when it comes to a cigar. I'm expecting more of those oaky notes, those tobacco notes, those leather notes when I'm thinking cigar cut, and maybe I'm completely off on that. That's just what I had in my mind going into this, but this is the complete opposite of what I was expecting for a cigar cut. But for me personally, for my flavor profile, I like it a lot. Now here's the thing, cigar cut is obviously not regulated by any means. You don't have government oversight on what you have to do to put cigar cut on your bottle. It's like small batch. You could be 2 barrels or you could be 200,000 barrels. You can still call it small batch. That being said, it seems like the formula is cognac, Armagnac, sherry, maybe add a port in there, and that's what people are going to call their cigar cut or cigar blend. I'm interested to see the future on these because I feel like this is going to be the next wave. Toasted was a big thing for a while. I feel like cigar cut or cigar blend is going to be the next wave. This right here though, if you handed this to me in 4 other whiskeys in a glass, I wouldn't pick this one out as my quote unquote cigar cut, at least not for me. I don't smoke a lot of cigars though, so again, let me know in the comment section below if you would enjoy this with a cigar. One more sip and we'll give it a score when it comes to taste. 8.54 when it comes to taste on this. Again, very good whiskey when it comes to the actual taste profile on this. Not what I would expect a cigar cut to be, but 8.54 is what I'm going to give it when it comes to taste. Let's get into price on this, which I think for me is where this bottle struggles. So I'll keep things short and sweet when it comes to price on this bottle. This bottle comes in at $120. Now, obviously we go through comparables. I believe it's $130 here in PA, but I believe MSRP is $120. Comparables, the only thing I have for you is Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. Now, that comes in usually around that $175 range. You're not going to find it for that. Normally you got to pay secondary for it. You're in that $200, $225 range. That being said, we always like to go with MSRP over secondary. So $120 versus $175. I haven't had the Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. I've heard great things. Again, I don't know if I would love it or hate it. If it's more of that cigar blend type of cut where you would really enjoy it with a cigar, then maybe I wouldn't like it as much as I like this bottle right here, because I like this bottle a lot. The only thing that I don't like about it, let me slow down for you a little bit, is the price tag. $120 for a 6-year-old whiskey that has a couple different cask finishes on it for a 1.5 to 3 to 6 months. Seems like a lot for me, but I will say it is a very good whiskey when it comes to the other two things, drinkability and taste. Let's take one more sip and we'll give it a score when it comes to price. The only other reason I'm going to bump this price score just a little bit is because of the Bourbon Bomb of the Week, which I know cost them a little bit more money. That has nothing to do with me, but at the end of the day, I can appreciate the value that they're bringing in their whiskey. That being said, I think it's still a little bit overpriced at $120. I would love it in like that $90, $85 range. I think it would crush it at that price point. This is going to be a continual release, so while you might not get your hands on this particular batch, you will be able to get this in the future. I think it's going to get easier and easier as they go, as long as they continue to make it. That being said, let's go like 7.86 when it comes to price on this bottle right here. That being said, let's send it over to this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week and talk about how they water this down to 110.6 proof. Cheers, y'all. So here we go for this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week. We're going to talk about the slow cut proofing process, also known as slow dilution, and it's one of those things in the whiskey world that I did not need to know about it, but yet now that I know about it, you need to know about it as well. Over at Old Elk, they take their whiskey and they slow cut it or slow dilute it. When you want to get a whiskey down to 80 proof, 90 proof, 100 proof for bottled and bond, or 110.6 proof, you have to add water, but how quickly you add water to that particular whiskey is key. So normally when you're proofing whiskey, you'll take a bunch of whiskey, you'll add a bunch of water to it. It'll take about a day or two. You'll add enough until you get it to the proof that you want it to be at. That being said, over at Old Elk, they don't do this in a day or two. They do this over weeks. So they add a small amount of water rather than a bunch of water at once. And what this does is it allows them to hold on to those delicate flavors that took them so long to get during the entire process. And they don't lose those just by dumping a bunch of water into it and having it evaporate off into the air. That being said, do I have any type of scientific evidence to back this up? Absolutely not. Do I have the people on the internet telling me that it's true? I do. So you have to know about it as well. Let's get back and give you a final score on this bottle right here. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, make sure you click that like and that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. If I have to learn things on this channel, so do you. And what I learned is this bottle comes in at an 8.39, making our top 10 of 2023 as of right now. Surprised me. When it comes to this bottle, that's what I will say. It surprised me. Not what I was expecting for a cigar cut. And again, I have to try some other things that are going to say cigar blend or cigar cut. And would I have a cigar with this? Absolutely. But I would also have a cigar with 95% of the whiskeys on my shelf behind me. So that being said, an 8.39 is not a bad spot for this. But hey, in the meantime, make sure you check me out on Instagram. Go click that follow button over there. Check out our Patreon page, that link in the description below. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly and stay healthy, stay happy. Stay chasing cigar cuts, I guess. These are pretty damn good. Cheers, y'all.